Hey guys, it's just me. I'm here at home actually because the campus doesn't have internet. So I'm going to take you through Module 5. This will just be a quick video. I know most of you have already started working on it and already started looking at the assignments, but I just wanted to give you some updates on the class. So Module 5 is our second poetry unit, and this module is mostly just to finish the second two poems that you'll write. Obviously, there's the discussion board that is the same as the one for short story review. You'll be picking a poem. It doesn't need to be a poem by a professional author. I will warn you that there is a lot of stuff out there on the internet that's not professional poetry. It's stuff people have written, and it's probably not something you want to put on the discussion board. So be looking for poets. I mean, you could look back at, your favorite poets from high school, some big names, obviously. And then, of course, there's a lot of examples in the textbook. So absolutely look through the textbook for that. Then we have the two assignments that you'll be working with, free verse and a fixed form. And so basically these are opposites. Free verse is where you write a poem using just kind of a free flow of ideas. It should not rhyme. And I think a lot of students, when they start writing poetry, their only real experience with poetry has been rhyming poems, and actually the best poems don't rhyme. Rhyme usually takes away from a poem actually quite a bit because you're trying to force words in there and they just don't fit. And so the thing that you're doing with this poem, of course, is trying to write a poem about the natural world, but you want to and use all that imagery, that descriptive language, but don't rhyme it. And so it can be a little bit harder to write that way. I think a lot of students try to force that rhyme in there, and it's just not a good idea. So no rhyming for this one. And then if you like rhyming poems, you can do one for the fixed form poem. You have to pick a form that you're going to use, and a lot of fixed form poems do have a rhyme scheme. So like a ballad, for example, might use a quatrain where every other line rhymes. And so there's a lot of different ways that you can write a poem. A lot of students pick something simple like a haiku, and that's perfectly fine. You may want to try something different though. Some of the poem forms are extremely complicated. So you'll see lots of examples in the textbook, and then I also have a link there for poets.org for more ideas. But just kind of keep in mind the harder your form is, the more difficult it is to make sure that you get all of the rules correct. So you'll need to make sure you do tell me what form you use when you submit this poem, but otherwise there's not much of a limit to this one. A lot of students do haikus because they're just short, but haikus can actually be kind of difficult to write because a good haiku is you have to really pay attention to exact word choice for that one. Anyway, so there's some poetry videos in here, and then of course the submissions down at the bottom. We're still working on the journal. We're now into journal 2, and so it's you'll see a grade for your first 8 entries in journal 1. Journal 2 we will work on until the end of the semester, and you'll get the grade in the last module for that one. This also concludes our poetry unit, so once you've submitted those 2 poems, that will be the end. I will be giving you some feedback. I've already graded the discussion board for the last unit, and most of you seem to be doing fine with those elements of poetry. And then I'm going to grade your mimicry poem, and I will probably do that before I grade your 2 short stories, actually, because I want you to have that feedback before you finish those last 2 poems. Make sure that there's nothing that you're doing wrong. Poetry is pretty difficult to write, actually, and some students, they think, well, I'll just kind of put some words in here and it'll look fine, and that's not really how you write poetry. And to write good poetry is very difficult, and so I want to try to give you some feedback within the next few days on that mimicry poem. And so if there's anything that you need to check or work on, you can do that, and then I'll get the short stories graded. I'm a little behind in this class. So anyway, that's the 5th module, and so after this point, we're doing drama, and then we're finishing up the class with some some revision and review and the final. So I hope you guys are doing well. As always, you can email me if you have any questions. This has been a review of Module 5.